So, we're talking today with Paul about refinancing options and who in this marketplace does it make the most sense for and why. Paul, great topic. Thanks so much.
Oh, you're welcome, Elio. Thank you for having me on the show today.
You're welcome. So, interest rates are down a little bit from where they were. And there might be some folks that are able to refinance. Who do you think that these are?
Yeah, absolutely. So, great question there. I mean, obviously, we've all heard the last month or so the Fed has cut, rates, interest rates, and people are saying, well, what does that mean? And they cut their rates being cut doesn't directly impact mortgage interest rates, but it definitely has a bearing. So, I would say if you purchased a home in the last 18 to 24 months, anyone
Hmm.
who has should at least consider refinancing. I mean, obviously, it's not always a no-brainer based on the situation, but I think if you bought a house and your rate's in the sevens, you should definitely consider at least talking to someone about your options, what they are. And the reason being is, equity obviously is all time high as well. So
Right.
that would help the PMI also. With the equity obviously being there, the PMI can come off. But even people with an FHA, let's just say FHA purchased a house 12 months ago. And maybe at that point, the FHA made more sense. But now, maybe things have changed. You've got a new job, or maybe your credit score went up a little bit. Maybe you consider the conventional, even if the rate maybe is half to 1% lower, you're still saving money. But the biggest thing is with conventional, the PMI does come off, as you mentioned, when there's 20% equity. With FHA, the PMI never comes off. So while it's a great option in the short term, long term, you'd like to get out of that so that PMI goes away in addition to, lowering your monthly payment with lower rates.
Question for you. When you're going to refinance, Paul, with closing costs, are they expected to bring cash to the closing table or can you wrap that all into the mortgage?
Yeah, another great point you made here. So obviously, when you do refinance, different than purchasing a home. When you purchase, obviously you have to pay closing costs out of pocket or ask for a closing cost credit. But with a refinance, you can roll all the closing costs in. So in theory, you can do this with no money out of pocket at all. I mean, think about that, and you can just get
Wow.
yourself in a better situation. Roll the closing cost in, and then obviously have the savings there.
What if somebody they have a home, they bought it, whenever, a few years ago or so, they have now a massive amount of credit card debt. Could they use a cash out refinance to pay off that debt to consolidate the debt, or will that work against them?
Absolutely. Again, they can absolutely use this. I mean, I've seen people, and right now in particular, there are some people that have some credit card debt that they're not accustomed to carrying. Things happen. So you're right. You can utilize it. And let's just say interest rates are in the low sixes. You do a cash out refinance. You can pay off that high interest rate credit card debt. Most credit cards are in the high teens to even 30% in some cases. So if you
Mm.
think about it, making a minimum payment on a credit card that's at 29.99%, you're going to be paying it for probably 15 years. That's assuming you don't use it anymore. So, I mean,
Mm.
it does make sense for some people because, let's say your minimum payments on credit card debt are like 800 to 1,000 a month. And let's say you owe $30,000 in credit card debt. You could easily refinance that 30,000 and, obviously on your mortgage with the equity, and your payment probably goes up maybe $200 a month, and you're saving 800 in payments, so you're $600 ahead, and that's just a small sample set. Some people have larger amounts of debt, and it's definitely an opportunity there to save some money each month utilizing your equity.